Okay, so this is a spotlight on Jane Mai, um, a cartoonist who has worked with mostly Koyama Press, Kush, um, Silver Sprocket, and Piao Studio slash Piao 2. Um, I believe she's based in New York. Um, and as you can tell, I'm quite a big fan of her work. Um, so I'm just gonna try and get through this because I'm just counting it now. This is 15 books. Um, and this isn't even all of her stuff. She has a few um, comics in different Kush anthologies that are now out of print, I believe. So I've not been able to get hold of those. And anyway, we'll get into it. Um, One thing I will say straight away about Jane is I think, in terms of like creating book covers, comic covers, she is incredible. And if she's not getting hired to do like graphic design work for companies, I'm very surprised because um, this was a series. This was a yeah. This one. Sorry, I'm kind of going here, there, and everywhere. Essentially, I think her covers are 10 out of 10, and this cover is worth the price of admission for this. The cost of this comic alone. So this one, ARYA issue 4, came out from Antarctic Press in 2018, and it was a series that only ran from 2017 to 2018, and I didn't know anything about it, and I've looked, I'm always looking for cartoonists' work that I really admire, and I hadn't heard of this before. And yeah, there were only 4 issues. Each issue had different cartoonists contributing, um, and it would always have 2 stories by 2 different people. Try and sharpen this up a little. So I am going to try and keep this brief and just go to Jane Mai's parts of the book. So her style here is actually very different to what she mostly does, but that said, she does have a lot of different styles. And this story was pretty brief. It didn't really go anywhere. It felt very YA. I think maybe at the end someone says shit or something. Um, but yeah, so I wasn't too into it. I don't think this is a fair representation of her work, but the cover was just like, that's incredible. It's like something to get framed. So how I found Jane initially was through these 2 Koyama Press books, and her plan for these was originally to have a series of 7 books, and in her own words, when she got to the final book, she would then plan to take her life. And luckily, she didn't do that, and she didn't do the series. So there is a Sunday, Monday, and a Tuesday. A Monday, I think you can now just download on her website. It's a very short mini comic, mostly kind of illustrations, more in the style of this one. But these are what made me kind of get drawn into her work. So what I like about Jane is I feel like over time when you read her books and her shorts, you get a sense of something's not okay. But it's kind of like you have to listen to the whole album. You're not really gonna get the point if you just listen to, the first few tracks. And there's different Janes, there's different Jane characters. I think quite a few years ago now she did a interview with the Comics Journal, kind of explaining some of that. She's really interesting because she just makes stuff and then she'll do like one post about it and then she'll disappear again until the next book is ready. And I really like that. So see you next Tuesday. Definitely kind of going up in a page count. And I think she said she just kind of made this as she was making it, if that makes sense. There wasn't a kind of plan for it, and it was just made on like loose sheets of paper. Yeah, so there's a pupil guide for different Janes. And obviously this one is so scrappy, and you're going to see that her, she can draw like this, and then she can draw totally in the other end. But I actually really enjoy these a lot. A lot of this is just about kind of being a young 20-something in New York, being really into Lolita fashion and not really taking care of yourself. I think that's fair to say. But kind of in that I'm mentally ill, but it's cute. If people get what I mean. Lots of humor in this one. And again, just a great book cover. So, yeah. I think by the time those two came out, this was just about to come out, or probably had just come out, and I missed the boat on the initial release, but luckily I was able to pick it up. And as you can see behind, they just put out a new edition, so you can still get this. But this is how it originally came out, with a belly band. The new edition has maybe like 30 more pages. But this came out 2015, covers the story of Carmilla, and and we just get this beautiful Rhizoprint comic that's also written in this diary entry style, this lesbian vampire story. Jane writes a lot about being young or younger and the battles that you face with that. Just trying to get through all of her work, just so everyone can get a sense of what she makes. Okay, so we'll do the X-Mags. So I think technically she's probably been in all 5 X-Mags from Piao. Weirdly, she isn't always advertised as being in them. Like a lot of the time in the contents page, there's no mention of her, but when you flick through it, she's actually in there. I'm not sure if that's a choice on her end or what. This one I'm not really sure, because Cyber Story by Michael, then it says like by Jane, so I'm not really sure if she wrote this. Later on in an X-Mag she writes just in prose, but she always does drawings of the cartoonists that are in these comics at the back of every X-Mag. She'll always have like these kind of drawings here. So out of all of the X-Mags that I know, this is the one where she submits like a full story, and as you'll start to see more here, Jane has, is very adaptable and can work in like a manga style as well. I've tried not to read this one yet because I'm worried of when cartoonists get to a dry spell, I'll have nothing left to read. So this is kind of like a fake excerpt from a upcoming book by a Jupiter M. Ching. And Jane does the cover art for the fake book, and then the rest is chapters from the book. But they're all kind of in, just jumping around in page count. It's really bizarre. I've not read this yet. And then again at the back, if I can find it, she'll do drawings of cartoonists. So these are Party Every Other Weekend 1 and 2 from Piao Studio, and these follow Jane and the Piao publishers going around festivals, making books, and all the kind of funny chaos that ensues from that. Hotel rooms, festivals. Really nicely put together. I don't think the camera will pick it up, but there's this really nice like spotting over all of this. It's got a nice, I mean, Piao always make really, really nice books. Yeah, lots of humor in here. A lot more like See You Next Tuesday. This is kind of like making a joke about finally the long-awaited sequel to the rarest Piao book ever made, which I will show you soon. And yeah, basically just going around lots of different festivals. A lot of fun to read. Really good. Yeah, and then she kind of crosses over into a more manga style. And it has this very, different tone where things get a lot more serious, a lot more focus on mental health. It kind of leaves all the Piao festival world behind, and this character is battling demons. And then this was advertised as like the last ever Piao book before they closed, and then a year or so later they reopened as Piao 2. I think technically they did put out one more book before this, but oh yeah, they did. They put out Last Chance to Find Duke. But they were definitely advertising Party every other weekend as the final Piao book. They're very good at their marketing. I think you should always take the dust jacket off so it doesn't get it creased. Yeah, the last Piao book. And then some asterisks to something I can't see an asterisk later on in that page, but who knows. But yeah, pretty chunky book. I'd say some of it goes a little over the same kind of jokes of playing festivals and arguing because you've been around people on tour for so long. Then again, we get more into this manga, Animal Crossing. This time, Metal Gear Solid, kind of. Yeah, I don't know. A lot of different things. So this is apparently the rarest Piao book ever, Pond Smelt. I don't know if that's really true. The story is apparently they only made about 400, I think. Came out 2013 when they were wrapping up doing Raizo printed comics. So this was one of the last Raizo printed ones. And yeah, they made 450, and apparently I don't know, lots got lost and dropped in the ocean. That's all I know. And this is like an Animal Crossing themed comic. And I guess people went nuts for this, maybe because of the scarcity, but obviously it's mentioned quite a bit in Piao lore. And, you know, it's an okay comic. She's, you know, this is over a decade old, so in a good way, she's made a lot better since this. This could easily just be chucked in with a collection if she makes one day, because a lot of this stuff obviously scattered across 15 plus books isn't ideal. The Koyama Press books, you can, if you're patient, find them on eBay for a reasonable price. But just be patient with it. This was a self-published Riser printed one. She made 2023, I think. The subject matter is pretty dark. But like she just, well, yeah, like I said, she really did with this one, just not say anything about it. Posted about it once, and that was it. And it's, you know, it's pretty detailed. And then it's gone. Like you can't get it anymore. Now this is rare. This is really hard to find, and some places will try and charge way too much for it. So this is a joint author release, and it's half essays, prose, comics from from both Jane and Anne. So again, I'm just gonna skip through this because this is getting quite a lengthy video. I always think it's more prose heavy, but I think it's probably like 65% comics, manga. But yeah, it's a nice, well, I can't find it now. But yeah, just about fashion, just about Lolita fashion. Two people are really passionate about it. I'm not going to pretend I really know much on the subject or the fashion, so I'm not going to sound like a dweeb. A Better Call Saul zine. With different contributors. Just a nice note from Jane. Yeah. I don't think this is all Jane. Maybe it is. It's been a while since I looked at it. I think it actually is. And then a anthology for Chainmail Bikini, the Anthology of Women Gamers. And this feels very Jane Mai core. Again, just this kind of, for me, like a subtlety of like a gentle, faint feeling of the point she's trying to get across. Yeah, I think that's it. It's just a four pager. Oh, 6-pager. But yeah, so that's Jane May. She has, and this actually is, if we're including all of her zines that she's self-published through the years, yeah, this is probably 40% of everything she's ever put out. Quite incredible, really. But I think a lot of that was then collected into books like See You Next Tuesday. But yeah, thanks for watching.